Hi guys, another Defender project today. As you know, if you own a Defender, it's a constant stream of maintenance and modification. And today's little project is the wheel carrier. Now this has been on there obviously since it was new, and it gets opened a hell of a lot, dozens of times a day when I'm working. And the previous chap who does obviously did the same job as me. And as you can see, it's worn and there's a lot of slop, and because that jumps up and down and it's a bit noisy. I'm assuming it's in the bush rather than the bolt. If it was in the bolt, it would probably be wearing it along the top of the bracket as well. It could be the bolt, but I'm betting it's going to be the bush. So let's take it out, get the bolts out and have a look. 19mm spanner. Not sure what size the Allen key is. And it's always better when you're doing this to stick your tongue out. I guess I should have got my sockets out, might have made life easier. And a nasty old spanner. I actually did get the sockets out to get the wheel nut remover out the side, but too lazy to get them out. Just loosen that off. Yeah, I'm guessing it's the bush, because if that was the bolt that was worn, that probably wouldn't have come up so easy, because there would have been a step in it. No, that's definitely the bush. So I've undone the bottom one, loosened the bottom one already. So I'm just going to see if I can get the bottom one out. It should wiggle out, yep. And then the top one, there we go. And there's the plastic washers that are top and bottom. So let's clean it up and see what sort of play we've got in the bush. Right, I've taken all the grease off, cleaned up the bolts a bit, and actually the slop is, as you can see, quite a lot. And there isn't actually a bush in there, it's just a solid bit of steel that's been drilled out, and the bottom one's the same. So there's two things we can do. We can rebush this bit, or we can put in a bigger bolt. Well, putting in a bigger bolt is going to mean drilling out the truck, and it's going to make it weaker, so I'm going to rebush this bit. So first of all we need to drill it out, and then we'll have to drill through from the grease nipple to obviously make sure it can still be greased. So let's see what we can do. Right, I found this little bit of stainless, and it's about 16mm, just under, and remarkably I've managed to find a drill that's about the same size. So I'm going to drill this out and then I'm just going to try drilling it first. I don't want it too sloppy. So I'm just going to put a bit of a counter bore in to start with and just see how far out this is going to be. As you can see, I'm no engineer. And that, a little bit loose. I'm hoping that by the time I've gone right the way through this, it might not be quite so loose. But if you find it is too loose, I can always knurl it up. I've got a knurling tool. And if you haven't got a knurling tool, you can always run a spot of centre dots around it with a good centre punch. All the way around it, up and down it. That'll tighten it up a treat. Right, a bit of cutting paste, and away we go. I appear to be hitting a hard lump, which is making it jiggle. I don't know if that's that the steel has worked hardened over the years, or whether there was a bush in there and I'm going sort of half into it and half out of it, or what, I don't know. But it's certainly given me a bit of a jiggle up. I'm probably more inclined to think there's a bit of a hard spot in there for one reason or another. It could have been a bit of decent steel that they used in the first place, and it has work hardened, but I don't know. It seems to be cutting alright. If you weren't so lazy as I am, you could actually set this up. Take the grease nipple out and set this up in the vise on the table on the drill press, but I'm too lazy. Now that's better, that's gone really tight there, so I'm guessing that's where the hard spot is, and it's cut slightly undersized, so that should work a treat. I should be able to hammer that in. So we've just got to flip her over and do the other side. Alright, flipped it over. See if we can do the same with this one. That bolt you can see that's hanging down, I was told when I bought this that there used to be a plate on there that the high lift jack sat on, and it was sort of on the rack. An awful lot more weight to carry, so I've actually got mine inside behind the second row of seats. I must show you a video of cool, blimey, I've got a real wobble on now. Yeah, show you the video of making up some brackets to secure it behind the second row of seats. Yeah, so if I wasn't so lazy, I could have set this up in the actual vise, and it probably would have made me drill the holes a lot more accurately. Doing it this way, the drill is just following the original hole, and if I haven't got this set up completely right, it could wander off it quite easily. If you set it up in the drill press, it's more likely to run straight and true. If you actually put an angle, square on it. Anyway, it's done. So we're going to go and turn this down. No, we're not. We're not going to turn it down. We're going to drill it out and see if we can knock it through. Right, to make the video a little bit shorter, I've already put a pilot hole in this. I wasn't sure about putting a pilot hole in because stainless is a funny old thing. Some stainless you have to put the size you want to finish up at in first go, because it work hardens and you'll never get another drill in it. You put a pilot in, it hardens up, and you can't drill the bloody stuff. But this seems to be working alright. I did a little test drill before I started, and it actually seems to be drilling quite well, so I don't know what grade it is. Just some that I've acquired over the years. I don't know where it came from, but it's going to do the job, I think. Keep plenty of cutting paste on it. I don't run fluid on this machine. It hasn't got the facility, and I can't be bothered to set up a suds pump because I don't use it often enough. If I was using it all the time, I'd certainly set up a suds pump. But for my little bit of turning and drilling, I find it easier just to either use cutting paste or one of those bottles with some cutting fluid in it. So we're nearly there, I think. I think that's just about it. Bottomed out on the pilot hole. It's very dark over in this corner. The camera's struggling to light it up. Right, let's see. That's a lovely fit. That's a real good, tight, no slot fit, and I might regret that. I'm not too worried about it being too tight because I use it every day. If I wasn't using the carrier every day, multiple times a day, I'd be a bit worried about it seizing up with it being so tight, but I'm going to pump some grease into it. As I say, it gets used so much that it won't get a chance to seize up, I hope. So let's see what we can do about fitting this in. Right, so I've just got it over the anvil and we're just going to knock it in. It's a good interference fit, so that should work a treat. Just over the hardy hole so it sticks through a little bit. And that I don't think stuck through quite enough yet. we could do with just a little bit more, just so that, because I put a bit of a lead on it to get it in, start it in the hole, and I want to take that lead off, so I just want to stick it through a little bit so I can grind it off. Yeah, that's better. It's only sticking through a gnats, but that's enough. I'm just going to whip the other side off with the disc cutter. Could use hacksaw, but disc cutter's just as easy. Alright, so I've got them cut off and ground up. You can see I've just ground that, and you can see I've just gone over the grease nipple with a wire brush to take the paint off, make it easier to open or undo. I'm just going to stick something down there and see if we can see how big a hole there is in there. It seems to be full of hard grease. Yeah, lumps of nasty old hard grease in there. But I think it's about the same sort of size as this rod, so I won't have any trouble putting another hole in there. Just going to get the muck out the other one. You can't see because it won't focus, but there's a lot of hard nasty grease in that one. That's the top one, I think. So I'll have a clean up, and I shall get my little pilot drill out. Now this is a lovely little desuter. I found this in a house clearance, an old box in a shed. Lovely little thing it is. Brilliant for pumping pilot holes in if you've got to pump pilot holes in something all day. So I put a new bit of flex on it. Smallish drill, big enough so that we can get a good flow of grease, but not big enough, too big that it's going to damage the threads of the grease nipple. So that's gone through, I hope. Let's have a little look, make sure it's, yep, that's gone through. I'm just going to do the other one. Get set up on it. Exactly the same, just try and keep it in the middle so you're not taking the threads off. It's only about 2mm, I suppose, is stainless. Maybe a bit more. Put the grease nipples back. And then I'm just going to have to run a file through, just take any burrs off that occurred from punching through with that little pilot drill. Do the same up the other end. And then I think after I've just tightened these grease nipples up, we're ready to go and try and fit it. Right, well I made a balls up. I forgot to turn the camera on while I started fitting this. So I've already put the bottom bolt in, and it's a bit of a two-man job, but I've got this stand here which I can show you, which I use for holding lengths of bar when I'm drilling. And I put the bottom bolt in first because it was going to be easiest, because I could wiggle it about and drop it in, because it's right by that light and I didn't want to be hammering. Now the top one is a bit tighter. In fact, it's much tighter, and that could well be because I didn't drill the hole square, as I said that I probably should have done. And it's gone a bit tight. It's picked up. I'm not sure if it's picked up on a burr from the grease nipple from drilling the hole, or whether it is just that it is sort of off centre a little bit. And I'm going to give it a bit of beans and see what happens. I might end up taking it out and just giving it a bit of an ease up. It might work its way in with a bit of grease, but it's a bit tight, so I'm just going to go and put some WD on it so it can run down the sides and see if it's eased up. I've done that and it did ease up a lot. I think it just picked up on the greaser hole. So I'll just tap that through and I'm just going to pull it down with the nut to its final position. Again, I wish I'd got the sockets out. But I'm just, as I say, pulling it down through the hole. Anyone who does do this may well want to put a slightly bigger hole through, a bit more of a clearance hole, just in case it does seize up. As I say, I'm not too worried about it because I use it so much that it's not really going to get a chance to seize up. But the hole I put, it's a 12mm bolt, and I actually put an 11.8mm hole through the bush, which the bolt does go through quite nicely. I don't know if that's because of wear or because it is just slightly undersized, but I probably should have put 12mm hole through rather than the 11.8, and then that would have just given me a little bit of play. It's still a bit tight on the top one. The bottom one's running free, but the top one's turning. I don't really want it to turn because that will wear out the, there's no play though, that will wear out the bracket at the top and bottom. As you can see, I'll get hold of this and there is no play whatsoever. That's got rid of the play, that's for sure. And that now lines right up with the centre of that pin, whereas before it was right at the bottom of the pin. So that's worked a treat. It's done the job. It's brought it up, but I've still got to loosen that top one off. That'll be a treat. Because as I say, I don't want the bolt turning, which will wear the top and bottom of the bracket rather than the bush. So I'm just going to put some grease in it and see if that will help. Move it about a bit. Give it a few pumps. Try and keep my eye on it. And from here I can see it's coming out the top, but from where I'm pumping I can't actually see it until about now. So I've overdone it a bit, but that won't matter. There you go, never mind. Plenty of grease in there. And that's still turning that bolt. And obviously I did exactly the same on the bottom one, there's even more on that one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and ease that up. I think what I've done, I've skipped a bit. I actually took the bolt back out again, gave it a quick rub down with a bit of sandpaper because it had picked up quite heavily on the greaser hole. And it was just jamming all the time. So now I've just cleaned it all up, put it back in. It's still very tight, and as you can see it's moving a touch. I'm hoping as I use it that's going to ease up even more. Bottom one's absolutely fine. That went through a treat, the bottom one. I'll keep my eye on the top one. I will get around to painting it all as well, but I've run out of time today. So I've just got to put it back together, but I'll take it off at some stage and put a drop of black paint on there. I may even get it powder coated. So, I've got the back wheel put back on. We're all up and running again. And I've coated the wheel nuts with the ACF 50, which is brilliant stuff. Use it all over the truck. Hinges and all sorts. And copper slipped all the threads, and as you can see I've got not one, not two, but three locking wheel nuts. Hopefully that might stop Mr. Scumbag nicking it. Anyway, there we are, all back together, and that should be a lot quieter, not rattling up and down when I'm going over bumps. So thanks for watching, we'll catch you on the next one.